Assalamu alaikum viewers, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm making two dresses for 1-year-old and 2-year-old with the same design, and I'm using this organza or tissue fabric which will be used 2 meters in total for both the dresses, and silk fabric that is 1 meter in total. And apart from tissue and silk fabric, we'll use lining fabric, and I'm using white color lining here. It's better to use same color lining, but I'm using whatever is available, and a small amount of can. I'll show you the detailed making of a 1-year-old dress, and I'll show you the final look and measurements for 2-year-old at the end. So let's get started. So for 1-year baby, I took this one strip of silk fabric, and the width of the strip is equal to the width of fabric, and that is 54 inches. And this one strip is for the skirt, both front and back. We will be using just one strip for the skirt, and the length of this strip is 11 inches. And we will hem the bottom, and we need seam allowance. The skirt when ready should be 10 inches, right? And so this is both for front and back, as you can see here. Now for organza fabric, the width of the fabric is 60 inches, but we'll be using two strips of organza fabric because we'll gather the fabric. So for that, we'll fold the fabric widthwise 3 or 4 times, so it is easier to cut the strips like this. The length of skirt when ready is 10 inches, but we'll fold the fabric from the bottom more than normal, so we need 2-inch or 2.5 inch seam allowance at the bottom and 1/2 inch for the top. So I'm cutting this tissue fabric at 13 inches. So this is one strip for front. We'll cut another strip 13 inches long for back part of the skirt. So I cut two strips of organza fabric, one for front and one for back. Length is 13 inches and width of both the strips is 60 inches. Now we'll join both the strips at one end. So I've joined both the strips. Now hem the bottom and fold the bottom at 1 inch 2 times, and then I pinned it first and then stitch it. So you can see here I pinned the fabric first and then I stitched it. The bottom is done, and I also hemmed the bottom of silk skirt as well. Now we'll gather organza fabric, and for that we'll go for a running stitch at the top of the skirt. So we'll tie a knot at one end and simply do running stitch or straight stitch. It helps to gather the fabric. So the running stitch is done, as you can see here, and there is extra thread at one end. We can pull the thread and adjust the gathers. Now we'll attach silk skirt with this tissue skirt at the waistline. The right sides of both the skirts are facing us. We'll place the skirt here, start stitching from one end, and gather tissue fabric down to the width of silk fabric. But before that, we'll give a notch at the center of the silk skirt so we can know the front and back part of the skirt. So we'll start stitching from one end, pin here. One strip of tissue fabric should be gathered down to the front part, so we'll join it to the notch we just gave, pin here. That is the center of the silk skirt, and that is the other end. So the gathers will be equal on both the front and back side, and we'll stitch at the waistline. So we adjusted the gathers and stitched the silk skirt at the waistline with organza. And now we are supposed to gather the skirt down to the waist measurement. Waist measurement for 1-year-old is 22 inches. So we'll simply gather both the strips at the waistline directly on machine down to the waist measurement. So I've stitched it, you can see here, keeping 1 or 2 inches seam allowance. I have gathered the skirt down to the waist measurement. Now we'll match the right sides together, join the sides, and stitch the side seam. So I've stitched the side as well. The skirt part is ready. Now we'll make an underskirt for this dress with lining and can. And for that I took this lining fabric. It is folded right now in front of me, and the length would be 9 inches. That is 1 inch less than the total length of the skirt we want. I'm using 1.5 strip of lining for this underskirt, because 1 strip would be less and 2 would more than sufficient. So I'm using 1.5 strip of lining fabric, join it at one side here, hem the bottom and gather it down to the waist measurement. So you can see here I have joined both the strips, hemmed the bottom and pleated this lining fabric down to the waist measurement. Now we'll attach can at the bottom of this skirt. So I folded can 3 or 4 times, and I'm using just 4 inches long strip of can. We'll place this strip at the bottom of the skirt here, 1 or 2 inches above the bottom, and stitch it here. So I've attached can, its width is more, we can pleat it as well, but I'm cutting the extra fabric. Now join the sides and stitch the side seam. So I've stitched the side seam, both the skirts are done. Now we'll cut and stitch the bodice and then attach it to the skirt. For the bodice I took 2 pieces of lining fabric, and both the pieces are 15 to 16 inches wide and 9 inches long, as we need 8 inches bodice when ready. Fold back lining first and place front lining on it, keeping 1 inch at the center, because we need seam allowance and overlapping margin for button placket at center back. And now we'll mark for shoulder first at 5 inches, half of shoulder, and at 5 inches for armhole. At this point we'll mark for 1/4 of chest at 5.5 inches and 1/4 of waist at 5.5 inches, that is 1/4 of 22 inch. From mark of cutting we'll draw a shape for back armhole. Back or front is same. For neckline I'm marking at 2.25 inch for neck width, and for neck depth I'm marking at 2.5 inch. Join these 2 points in a square shape like this. For back neckline I'm marking at 1 inch. Now we'll cut back neckline, armhole and sides first, separate back part and cut front neckline. So we have cut the bodies on lining fabric. We'll cut silk and tissue fabric using this as pattern. So I've cut lining and silk fabric on the same pattern. We'll separate lining for now and place tissue fabric on the right side of silk fabric and stitch it from all sides to make it one piece. We'll do the same for front bodice as well. So I've pinned both the fabrics first and then I'll stitch them from all sides to make them one piece. So you can see here it's easy to handle now. Now we'll place lining on the right side and attach them at armhole and neckline. We'll do the same for back, but we'll make 2 stitch lines at center back as well. So I've pinned at armhole and neckline first and center back, and now we'll stitch here. So armhole and neckline are attached and we made 2 stitch lines at center back. We'll cut from there and give a few notches and turn right side out of front bodies only. Give it a very nice press. So I've pressed the front bodies. The back bodies is still wrong side out, right? Now we'll attach the shoulders, and for that we'll insert front bodies into the back bodies like this. So the main fabric is facing the main fabric and lining is facing lining. Match the shoulders and stitch here. So I've stitched the shoulders. We'll pull the front bodies and you can see the shoulders are done. We'll do the same on the other side. Insert it like this. Match the shoulders and stitch. So I've attached the shoulders. If both the shoulders are not equal, you can adjust the width of the shoulder and then attach, right? Pull the front bodies and you can see the shoulders are nicely done from inside as well as outside. Press the back bodies as well to set all the seams in place. And now we'll attach frills here on both the front and back bodies, and for that we'll first measure the length, and that is equal to 17 inches almost. We need the strip for the frill at least twice this measurement because we'll gather it, and if it is 3 times it is much better. So I took this strip of tissue fabric and the width is 4 inches and length of the strip is almost 44 inches here. That is more than twice the length of the frill we want. We'll hem one edge of both the strips, only one edge, one longer edge. So I've hemmed the strip from one side, so you can see here. Now we'll fold both the strips and place one above the other. We'll trim both the strips a little bit. The width of the strip at the raw edge here should be very less. We'll keep on increasing the width and it should be maximum at the fold or at the center like this. So we'll trim it like this. The maximum width of the frill would be at the center, that will be attached to the shoulder. So we have trimmed it like this. This part would be attached to the shoulder. It's very important to mark on the bodies where we want to attach our frills. So mark on your bodies like this, at the center of the shoulder down to the bottom of front and back bodies both. We'll secure the other edge of the strip with the flame because tissue fabric frays a lot, so it's very important to secure the edges. So we'll simply use flame to secure the other edge, and at that side I did this running stitch because we'll make gathers here. So our frills are ready to be attached on the bodies. Now we'll place this frill so the finishing side is facing inwards. We'll gather the frill and stitch here. Wrong side of the frill is facing up right now. We'll do the same for the other frill. Wrong side of the frill is up and the raw edge is facing outwards and hemmed side of the frill is facing inwards. We'll simply gather the frill and attach it here where we marked first. That is very important, and the maximum width of the frill should be at the shoulders. It's very important, so you better give a notch at the center of the frill. Now fold the frill like this and top stitch here. So now the right side of the frill will be up, and so it is a very easy way to attach the frill without any cutting. So I've top stitched the frill. It's a very easy way to attach the frill. Now match the right sides together and stitch the sides, but before that we'll attach belt in between, and for the belt I took 5 inches white strip of silk fabric and length of this strip is 38 inch. It should be a bit longer. We'll fold it like this and stitch here. So I've stitched one side and kept both the edges pointed. Fold the strip and cut at the center. So this is belt for both the sides of the bodies. Trim extra fabric and turn the right side out. Do the same for other belt. And give it a very nice press. So after pressing both the belts, we'll place them on the back part of the bodies, half or 1 inch above the bottom line, and pin it here. We are attaching the belt only on the main fabric, not with the lining. So pin it here, and now match the right sides together and stitch the side seam. And for that, open the fabric like this, match main fabric to the main fabric and lining to lining, and stitch here. So I've stitched the side seam. The belt was sandwiched in between, so it is stitched. It is nicely done from both the wrong and the right side. Open the margin like this and give it a very nice press, so the margin is not folded at one side. And then stitch lining and the bodies, main bodies at the bottom, and after stitching, overlap the center back and stitch here. So the bodies would be in a circle. So I've stitched the center back, as you can see here. Now it is a circle. We'll simply attach it to our skirt. Now we'll take the main skirt first. Turn the wrong side of the skirt out like this. Insert the bodies in the skirt, matching the waists together, and stitch here. So we have attached the skirt and the bodies at the waist. So this is how our frock looks like. Turn it right side out, and now fold the bodies like this. And insert this dress into the underskirt now and stitch here. The wrong side of the skirt is out. Match the waist and stitch here. So I have stitched the lining as well. This is how it is looking from the inside. Very nicely done. And this is the right side of the dress. We'll make a few buttonholes at the center back and attach buttons there. So this is the back part of our dress. And on the center front, we can use a brooch here or a fabric flower. I'm using beads on the center front, and I show you. So I've attached the beads on the center front, and it is looking more nice with this. I'm sure you would like it. It's looking so cute. This is for 1-year-old, and I've made the same design for 2-year-old as well. So this is the dress for 2-year-old. And as far as the measurements are concerned, the length of the bodies is 9 inches as we took for 1-year-old, but the length of the skirt is 1 or 2 inches more. So I cut silk fabric at 11 inch and tissue fabric at 14.5 inches, and I used 1 strip of silk fabric and 2 strips of tissue fabric as we used for 1-year-old, right? And the length and width of the frill is exactly same as we used for a 1-year-old girl. So there is a bit difference in the length of the skirt, and we made underskirt in the same way as we did for 1-year-old, and length of the underskirt should be 1 inch less than the main skirt. And the body's measurement are shown on screen, so you can follow that, and they're almost similar with a few differences. And I hope you like the video. Make sure to subscribe my channel if you have not subscribed, and thank you so much for watching. Allah Hafiz till the next video.